Have you been feeling just a little off lately? Not in a dramatic way, just small changes. Moments where you pause mid-step wondering why your heart's beating a little faster than usual. Or you find yourself sitting down more often, not because you're tired, but because something deep inside feels different. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Eleanor Jenkins, age 76, a retired librarian from Asheville, North Carolina, used to spend her mornings walking through the local botanical gardens. Just a few months ago, she noticed she was cutting those walks shorter. At first, she thought it was just the summer heat. Then the steps up her porch felt heavier. She told herself it was just age catching up. But something didn't feel right, and deep down, she knew it. That's the thing about the human heart. When it starts to struggle, it doesn't always scream. It whispers, and those whispers can be easy to ignore, especially when you're used to being strong, independent, and capable. For so many people over 70, heart trouble doesn't come crashing in like a sudden storm. It arrives quietly through little signs that are easy to dismiss until it's too late. And by the time you realize something's truly wrong, you may already be missing the window to act. That's why we're making this video. Because catching those early clues, those whispers, isn't about fear. It's about protection. It's about honoring the years you've lived by taking care of the years you still have ahead. Recognizing these signs can give you time. Time to ask questions, time to see your doctor, time to make changes that could add not just years to your life, but life to your years. In the next few minutes, we'll walk through 5 early signs your heart may be struggling after the age of 70. Some might surprise you. Others may feel eerily familiar. Maybe you've experienced them yourself or seen them in someone you care about. Either way, these signs are not random. They're part of a larger pattern your body may be trying to show you, one that deserves your full attention. This isn't about panic, it's about peace of mind. Because when you understand what your body is telling you, you're not just guessing anymore. You're prepared. You can choose to act. You can choose to care. And you can help your heart continue doing what it's done faithfully for decades, keeping you going strong. So if you've ever felt something wasn't quite right, or even if you just want to stay ahead of potential problems, this is for you. Take a deep breath, open your mind, and let's begin. Sign number 1, fatigue that lingers even after rest. When 78-year-old Harold Thompson from Cedar Falls, Iowa, started feeling tired in the mornings, he thought it was just part of retirement life. After all, he'd spent 40 years running a small hardware store, waking up before sunrise, lifting heavy boxes, climbing ladders, solving problems all day. Now that he had the time to sleep in, wasn't it normal to feel a little slower, but something was different? Even after 8 hours of sleep, Harold still felt drained. Getting out of bed became a chore. He'd sit on the edge of the mattress, rubbing his hands over his knees, waiting for the energy to arrive, but it never really did. By mid-morning, after reading the paper and having his usual toast and black coffee, he would already feel like taking a nap. And after carrying the trash to the curb or walking around the block with his dog, Max, his legs felt like lead. That wasn't the Harold his kids remembered. That wasn't the man who once mowed 2 lawns in one day without breaking a sweat. What Harold didn't know at the time was that this deep, persistent fatigue wasn't just getting older. It was his heart talking, and what it was saying quietly but clearly was, "I'm struggling." When your heart begins to weaken, it has a harder time pumping blood through the body. That means less oxygen gets to your muscles. Less oxygen gets to your brain. The result: everything feels harder. Tasks that used to be routine, like climbing a few stairs, getting dressed, or even brushing your teeth, start to wear you out. Not just physically, but mentally too. You may find yourself struggling to stay alert, to focus, or to stay awake during the day. That's not laziness. That's not just age. That's your body conserving energy because your heart isn't delivering what it used to. The hardest part is that this kind of fatigue creeps in slowly. It doesn't always arrive with chest pain or dizziness. It just lingers. You might sleep more, sit more, avoid going out, not because you don't want to, but because it just feels like too much. Like Harold, many seniors try to push through it. They think a bit more coffee or a short nap will fix it. But the truth is, when your body feels this tired, even after rest, something deeper is happening. If you or someone you care about is experiencing this kind of fatigue regularly, especially after simple activities, don't ignore it. The heart may be quietly asking for help, and listening early could make all the difference. Sign number 2, Shortness of breath from simple activities. Janice Reynolds, a 74-year-old retired school teacher living in Portland, Oregon, had always been someone who enjoyed keeping a tidy home. She took pride in making her bed each morning, fluffing the pillows and folding laundry while humming her favorite old tunes. But over the past few months, something had changed. It began subtly, just a little huffing and puffing after walking up the stairs. Then she found herself avoiding them altogether, carrying everything she needed upstairs in one trip just to limit how often she had to climb them. At first, Janice brushed it off. "I'm just a little out of shape," she told herself. "Maybe I need to start walking more." But soon, even walking from her bedroom to the kitchen left her breathless. She had to pause and lean on the counter, waiting for her chest to settle. It wasn't fear at first, it was frustration. Why was something so simple suddenly so difficult? That's when she noticed she'd started sleeping with 3 pillows stacked behind her. Not for comfort, she said it was for better breathing. And when she lay flat, she felt like someone was pressing on her chest. That invisible weight made her sit up at night, struggling to catch her breath. Her son Mark became concerned when he saw her pausing halfway through folding laundry, hands on her knees, breathing heavily. "Mom, that's not normal," he said. He was right. What Janice didn't realize was that this wasn't just about aging or being out of shape. It was her heart struggling and her body trying to adjust. When the heart can't pump efficiently, fluid can begin to back up into the lungs. This makes it harder to breathe, especially when lying flat. Everyday tasks like showering, dressing, or even bending down to pick up the mail can suddenly feel like running a marathon. And the worst part, it happens so quietly, so gradually. That many seniors like Janice don't notice the shift until they're gasping for air doing something as simple as putting on socks. Shortness of breath that comes on during light activity or even at rest is one of the clearest signs that your heart may be in distress. It's your body's way of compensating for reduced oxygen flow. And while it may seem like a minor inconvenience at first, it often signals something serious possible: fluid buildup in the lungs from early-stage heart failure. So if you or someone you care about starts needing more pillows at night or feels breathless after walking across the room, don't ignore it. It's not just age. It's not just being out of shape. It's a message from your body that your heart needs help. Recognizing this sign early, like Mark did for Janice, can make all the difference in protecting not just comfort, but life itself. Sign number 3, swelling in your ankles, legs, or belly. 80-year-old Clarence Mitchell had spent most of his life in Helena, Montana, where he once worked as a mechanic and loved hiking in the foothills with his grandson Lucas. Even in retirement, Clarence took pride in staying active. But lately, something was different. His favorite leather boots, ones he had worn for over a decade, started feeling tighter by mid-afternoon. He blamed the weather at first. "Must be the heat," he muttered, loosening the laces every evening. But then he noticed the elastic from his socks leaving deep grooves in his ankles. His pants didn't fit quite right either. Not at the waist, but around his lower legs and stomach. His daughter Monica, who visited every weekend, noticed the change too. "Dad, are your legs always this puffy?" she asked gently one Sunday afternoon. Clarence shrugged. "Maybe I've just been sitting too much. Or maybe I had too much salt." That's what he wanted to believe. But deep down, he felt something was off. He'd always paid attention to his health, ate modestly, stayed away from processed foods, and walked daily. So why did it feel like his body was slowly inflating from the ground up? The truth is, swelling, also known as edema, in the ankles, legs, or abdomen is often one of the first visible signs that the heart is having trouble keeping up. When the heart's ability to pump blood weakens, circulation slows. Fluid starts leaking from blood vessels and collects in soft tissues, especially in the lower parts of the body. That's why shoes feel tighter, pant legs seem snug, and even rings may not slip off as easily. This swelling isn't always painful, which makes it easy to dismiss. But its presence speaks volumes. It's your body waving a quiet red flag, and for seniors like Clarence, that flag shouldn't be ignored. What's tricky is that many older adults think swelling is caused by eating too much salt, sitting too long, or simply getting older. While these can contribute, chronic or worsening swelling is often rooted deeper in the heart's declining function. And when it appears alongside other signs like fatigue or breathlessness, it paints a clearer picture of cardiac strain. Clarence eventually went to his doctor, encouraged by Monica's concern. Tests revealed early signs of congestive heart failure, something that thankfully could still be managed with lifestyle changes and medication. He didn't need surgery or drastic treatment, but he did need to listen to his body. If you or someone close to you begins noticing swelling in the feet, ankles, legs, or belly, especially if it's regular or worsening, don't dismiss it as a minor issue. Your heart may be struggling to keep up, and catching it now can mean the difference between comfort and crisis. Like Clarence, you deserve the chance to stay ahead of the problem and protect the life you've built with care. Sign number 4, irregular or rapid heartbeat at rest. Harold Dixon, a 76-year-old veteran living just outside of Charleston, South Carolina, had always prided himself on being calm under pressure. Whether it was during his time in the Navy or raising 3 kids on a modest income, Harold was the kind of man who kept a steady hand and an even heart. But one quiet evening, while reading in his recliner with his dog, Buster curled at his feet, something startled him, and it wasn't the book. He felt his chest flutter. It wasn't pain exactly, but it was unnerving. His heart felt like it was skipping beats, then suddenly speeding up, racing without reason. He pressed his hand against his shirt and waited confused. Am I just anxious, he wondered, but there was nothing to be anxious about. The house was quiet, the day had been peaceful, yet his heart felt like it was running laps without his permission. The next morning, Harold mentioned it to his neighbor and longtime friend Martha, who had once worked as a nurse. Her face turned serious. That's not something to ignore, Harold, she said. It could be your heart trying to get your attention. And she was right. A rapid or irregular heartbeat at rest, what doctors call arrhythmia, can be more than just a harmless quirk. In seniors, it can signal a heart that's under stress. Conditions like atrial fibrillation or AFib are common in people over 70 and can cause the heart to beat too fast, too slow, or with an unpredictable rhythm. While it may seem like a passing sensation, it's actually a warning sign that your heart's electrical system isn't functioning properly. When the heart doesn't beat in a regular rhythm, blood doesn't flow as smoothly, increasing the risk of clot, stroke, and in some cases, heart failure. And unfortunately, many people dismiss the symptoms, chalking them up to nerves, too much coffee, or just one of those things. But when this fluttering happens more than once or starts becoming frequent while you're sitting still, it's time to take it seriously. Harold didn't ignore it. Encouraged by Martha, he visited his doctor, who performed an EKG and later diagnosed him with atrial fibrillation. The good news, it was manageable. With the right medication and some simple lifestyle changes, Harold's heart found its rhythm again, and he learned to listen to the subtle messages his body was sending before they became emergencies. If you've ever felt your heart beating too fast, skipping unexpectedly, or fluttering while you're at rest, don't dismiss it. Your heart works hard for you every minute of every day. If it's acting out of rhythm, it may be time to give it the attention and care it deserves. Just like Harold, you have more life to enjoy, and listening to your heart might just help you hold on to it longer. Eleanor Patterson, age 81, had always enjoyed the little things in life. Living in a cozy cottage on the outskirts of Asheville, North Carolina, she took pride in her home-cooked meals, especially her famous Sunday chicken casserole. For years, her daughter Laura and 2 grandkids would stop by every weekend, knowing there would always be something warm on the stove and the smell of fresh cornbread in the air. But over the past few months, something changed. Eleanor stopped cooking. The fridge, once filled with carefully labeled leftovers, now sat half empty. At first, Laura thought it was just fatigue or maybe a bit of loneliness. But when she asked her mother about it, Eleanor simply replied, "I'm just not hungry anymore, sweetheart. Food doesn't sit right with me these days." At dinner, she would take only a few bites before pushing her plate away. Sometimes she complained of a heavy feeling in her stomach, or mild nausea that seemed to come and go. "It's probably just something I ate," she'd say. But the truth was, she wasn't really eating much at all. This kind of change can be subtle, but it matters. For seniors like Eleanor, a sudden loss of appetite, unexplained nausea, or digestive discomfort isn't always about what's going on in the stomach. Often it's what's going on in the heart. When the heart begins to struggle, especially in its early stages of failure, it affects more than just energy and breathing. Reduced blood flow can impact the digestive system, making it harder for the stomach and intestines to do their job. This can lead to a persistent feeling of fullness, bloating, or even nausea after only a few bites. The body starts to treat food like a burden instead of fuel. Many older adults don't recognize this connection. They might think they've caught a bug or that their taste buds are just getting old. But when there's no obvious infection, no stomach flu, and no change in medications, the culprit may be deeper and cardiac-related. In Eleanor's case, a visit to the doctor led to a heart function test which revealed early-stage heart failure. It explained not only her lack of appetite, but also her recent shortness of breath and swelling in her ankles, things she had quietly brushed off. With treatment and dietary support, Eleanor began eating better again, little by little. And though the chicken casserole still took effort, she found joy in making it once more, even if just for herself. If you or someone you care for suddenly stops enjoying food, begins skipping meals, or loses weight without trying and no clearer cause is found, it may be time to look at the heart. Sometimes what seems like a stomach issue is really a quiet signal from the body's most vital muscle. Listen to it, just like Eleanor did. Here's something Frank Callahan, 78, from Helena, Montana, once said after his first cardiology appointment: "I didn't crash. I just slowed down until I almost stopped." That sentence stayed with his daughter, Melanie. And now, years later, it echoes as a reminder: the heart doesn't fail all at once. It whispers, it warns. And if you're willing to listen even a little, you just might give yourself more time, more comfort, and more peace. Your heart is the engine that powers every part of your body. And like any engine, it rarely shuts down without giving you clues first. Small ones, subtle ones, the kind of signs that are easy to ignore when you're busy, when you chalk them up to just aging, or when you don't want to make a fuss. But ignoring them doesn't protect you. Listening to them does. Here's what we covered today. 5 early warning signs your heart may be struggling. Persistent fatigue that sticks around even after a full night's sleep or a restful day. Shortness of breath during the simplest tasks like walking across a room or buttoning a shirt. Swelling in the ankles, feet, or stomach that seems to grow worse as the day goes on. An irregular or rapid heartbeat, even when you're sitting quietly or lying in bed. Loss of appetite or unexplained nausea, especially when nothing else seems wrong. These are not small things. They are your body's way of telling you it's time to check under the hood. They don't always mean something severe, but they do always mean something. And when you catch them early, you give your doctor the chance to act before real damage is done. If you or someone you love is over 70 and has noticed one or more of these signs, please don't dismiss them. Make that appointment. Get that heart check. There's nothing weak about paying attention. In fact, there's strength in being proactive. There's power in staying informed. And there's wisdom in taking care of the one thing that keeps you alive, your heart. Remember, growing older doesn't mean giving up control. It means protecting what matters most. Your independence, your comfort, your time with family, and your peace of mind. If this video touched something in you today, we invite you to comment the word heart down below. Let us know you're here and that you're ready to listen to what your body is telling you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Wisdom and Health of the Elderly. We share weekly insights to help you live your later years with strength, dignity, and grace. Thank you for watching, and above all, take care of your heart. It's been taking care of you for a very long time. As we move into our 70s and beyond, it becomes even more important to tune into the quiet signals our bodies send us, especially our hearts. The story of Frank Callahan reminds us that heart trouble doesn't always announce itself with pain or drama. Often it shows up in silence, a kind of weariness. We brush off swelling, we chalk up to salt or a loss of appetite we assume is just part of getting older. But these small signs are the body's way of asking us to slow down and listen before something bigger happens. And that's the most human truth. Our bodies don't want to fail us. They want to warn us. They want us to pay attention. In our current lives, it means making room for regular checkups, not just when we're already in pain. It means noticing when climbing the stairs suddenly feels like a burden, or when we're too tired to finish dinner with our family. These moments are not just old age. They are opportunities, urgent ones, to care for ourselves in a more loving, proactive way. If you're over 70 or if you love someone who is, don't wait for a crisis. Start today with a conversation, a gentle reminder, or even just a journal to track how you're feeling. The heart gives us life. We must repay it by listening with care. Taking this small step now could mean more time holding your grandchildren, laughing at the dinner table, or walking in the sun with someone you love. And in the end, isn't that what all of us want to live, not just longer, but with dignity, strength, and peace?